Janie, do you want us to change the temperatures? I'm in every moment of this after show at once with y'all listeners right now. This episode was a thermodynamic miracle. We are giving you our first reaction to the finale of Watchmen Season 1, Episode 9, See How They Fly. Tune in with us right now.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and time's up.
Time is up.
Nate Miller, wow. Watchmen finale just finished on HBO. We are giving you our immediate reactions. What's going on, y'all? This is the Watchmen after show. However, we are not doing the full-fledged after show today. We are just giving you our immediate reaction because this episode was so bonkers and crazy. We just need to process it all. So we're going to have an after show for you a little later this week. It's going to be Tuesday at 9 p.m. PST with Tehran once he's back. But for now, I'm Ryan Nilsen. I will be leading this after show for you today. Our reaction, we're so psyched. Our minds are blown from this finale. And I am joined by the incredible Nate Miller. He is a gigantic Watchmen fan, knows everything Damon Lindelof. Nate Miller, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. It's been an exciting season. We made it to the end.
I'm shocked how put together you are right now because I'm kind of all over the place. I feel like I just watched something absolutely mind-blowing. I was not ready for this. I was not prepared. I was not in the mental headspace for receiving this information right now. How are you feeling?
I mean, I was still kind of. I'm definitely was very surprised by a lot of things that happened, but I guess I was more prepared. This is what I was expecting: was some mind bending, some really very clever writing, all these pieces falling together perfectly as they've been set up. For me though, I'm just processing it right now because we just watched it. And there's a lot, and like I honestly don't know how I feel about a lot of things, good or bad. I can't wait to watch it again and actually be able to like pick it apart and like breathe with it and live with it and then kind of see where it goes.
Right, and again, that's why we're not calling this the official after show for this episode. We are going to do that in 2 days just because we need to rewatch this. We need to really dissect it, figure it all out. So today, just on the docket for the show, we're going to be giving you whether or not we felt this finale was satisfying, our thoughts on the season as a whole, and then we're going to be breaking down just Damon Lindelof and his writing, how this compares to his other TV series, his other stories he has told, and we'll be just talking about the season and all of our thoughts on these bold choices with this Watchmen series on HBO. So let's get right into it. I mean, our immediate reaction once the episode ended, we stand a lot while we watch the show just because of where the TV is. There might be like a slight glare. We turn off the light near us. We really make it as cinematic as possible. But I was just standing because I didn't know what to do with my body at certain moments throughout this episode. I really, the amount of complicated storylines that are also simultaneously just beautiful in this show is absolutely tremendous. I mean, what was your reaction once the episode ended?
I don't know. I mean, initially I was just my big concern with this finale was that don't hate me, I don't want a season 2, especially if Damon didn't write it intending there to be a season 2. I would rather it just have one perfect season and be great than have one perfect season and then just be run into the ground until we get a season 8 Game of Thrones. Sometimes you have to just let things be what they are.
So that's what's in your head the whole time?
Yeah, so if at the end, I mean, I'm thinking about this is the end game, just because in the same way, it's like when you read the book, when you read the last issue of Watchmen, it's the last issue.
Right.
There's nothing else.
The end.
And like now we have this, but even then, this kind of works. It works as its own self-contained story, and it tells you enough of the previous events for you to pick up on it, even if you've only seen the show. So for me, the integrity of the story, just as important as the show being an homage to the book, the story needs to be an homage to the original story, and it needs to have a beginning and an end. So I just wanted to really, the whole strength of this show is if they land the ending. And like I said, I still kind of up in the air. There's some things I'm not crazy about, some things that I really loved. I need to watch it again.
Right, to really get the specifics.
Yeah, I really want to watch the whole thing again. I won't have time to do that before we do the thing, but that's definitely next on my list.
I mean, what's interesting, you say, that it needs to end. The description for this episode, if you go on like TV Guide or IMDb, it says everything ends, period, for real this time, period. Like that is the description, even though the title of the episode is See How They Fly, and all the HBO advertisements are like season one, inferring there might be multiple. I think I'm with you there. Again, I want to watch it all. And I mean, we'll talk about it later when we're just deep diving on Damon Lindelof, Drink One. But I think my confidence in him, he can really do no wrong for me at this point. But man, my reaction rate when this ended was just, I was kind of in awe. And we've had that feeling, I feel, in different episodes throughout this season, but I never really expected. He's been making bold choices throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
Every episode is a bold choice.
For sure.
But this one was that times 20. There were just bold choices everywhere, and it really tied everything together.
Yeah, well, you reach a point, too, like where you can only tiptoe around what you're working with for so long, especially if you're trying to make something meaningful. And, when you look at like where Watchmen came from, when Alan Moore originally had this idea, he wanted to use these characters that his comic book label had bought recently. And these were already established characters that he essentially wanted to break and make them into these, broken human characters.
Right.
And the label was like, well, no, it's gonna literally cost us money because these are invested. So you can make new people, and you can these characters come based on something that already exists. So in the same way, he's taking these characters from another work of art. As much as it is a sequel, it's not made by the same people. So he's being heavily influenced by it, right?
Definitely.
So to take these characters, you have to, in the same way, you have to kind of break them. And that's kind of what we saw, like in the end, like Lori is a perfect example of that. We see how she's changed in the way that she is, and kind of we get more understanding into that, especially with the ending. Seeing Looking Glass and Angela's arc, and but also at the end of the day, when you're talking about Watchmen characters, like there's a literal god walking around, so he's very important. So something was going to happen with Manhattan, and this is just it's definitely a bold choice,
right?
For sure.
So wait, quick question, and I'm going to ask this to the chat as well. We have over 137 people in the chat right now. Thank you all for tuning in. And again, we're going to be here back on Tuesday at 9 p.m. with Tehran, and we're going to be deep diving into every element of this episode. We're kind of just giving a reaction right now, but please type if you're satisfied or unsatisfied in the chat. I want to do a little bit of a poll. Was this finale satisfying? When it ended, when you saw the credits, did you have that satisfied feeling? Were you overjoyed, or were you dissatisfied? Were you expecting more? Were you satisfied, Nate?
Initially, I would say yes. Yeah.
But upon further review on Tuesday, maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll
I
see.
reserve. Yeah.
I reserve the right to change your mind. Yeah.
I'm sure that I would be shocked to watch it again and be like, all right, I've decided this sucks. I hate it. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think I may have, I can be contrarian, so I may have some nitpicks about stuff.
Yeah.
But on a whole, I feel very confident that it's gonna stick up to multiple viewings. I think it is a good ending to the story. It's just so much too, and like the show's had a constant pace throughout the series, but on this, it's like literally packed.
It's fast.
Like I kept watching.
Every
I was
line.
like, "Is this?" It feels like we've been watching like an hour and a half, but it's only been. It's like an hour and 10, I think, or something like that.
10.
But man, like
wow, we got a ton of people in the chat just saying if they're satisfied or not, and some people are typing the lyrics to "I Am the Walrus." We got Jay Santi satisfied, Ricky reasons for unsatisfied. Ricky, say why? I'm really interested. Same with Robbie Martin, unsatisfied. Miss Coco Brown, satisfied. Gerald Pina, super satisfied. Bruce Williams, satisfied. A lot of satisfieds, but it's a little more mixed than I kind of anticipated.
Right. So Corey Adams says, I feel like that's what you get when you try to adapt the Watchmen story into anything. It doesn't work. And if I hear, quote, a bold choice one more time to explain why you feel let down, unsatisfied.
Nice. I mean, I don't think I was using it to see why I'm let down. I think I just really, I guess I underestimated Damon a little.
Yeah.
I really did not. Just hearing him praise how much he loves this graphic novel, which, by the way, we have issue 3 of a re-release print from Watchmen here, courtesy of Laura Graham. So thank you, Laura. And if you're watching this, shout out to you, Laura Graham. But it's just so amazing how this sequel series, I think, really has honored this graphic novel in every way it can, while also, I think, doing a great job with these new characters. I did get a sense, and I was thinking this while watching tonight's episode, I was like, wow, they are really staying on the old characters other than like Lady True and Angela. I just didn't feel like a lot of the new characters, they kind of fell by the wayside a little bit for me. Like we didn't, maybe I wanted a little bit more payoffs.
What new characters though?
I mean, Looking Glass, he had an arc, but he's still kind of just there in this. And
he's there for a specific reason.
He has the wrench moment.
No, but he's there. The important reason for him is he went back to get the evidence,
right,
to try to do something for Veidt. Like this is him. Like it's that next step beyond the like recovery of realizing that all that stuff is a lie. Now
is his full recovery.
He wants to try to do something about it now. So that's why he went back there. Thank God he did. It was right place, right time. But like there is a meaning and reason to that. So he's
definitely
there.
Not,
He's him being involved. That group that he was in is no small feat. So
not a small feat. I guess for me though, it just didn't seem as important as a lot of the other stuff going on. And I'm not really saying that as a major critique. I just maybe wish that I cared a little bit more about it. That might just be a personal thing on my end, but that's like the one thing that was popping in my mind. I was absolutely blown away by what they were doing with Dr. Manhattan and Angela here. And again, you were talking about the whole time we were watching, you're throwing out connections to the comics. And I'm like, oh my God, he's saying like the line of dialogue about it was Janie.
Yeah.
Just so beautiful. And then what an incredible line of dialogue, maybe my favorite line of dialogue in all of 2019, where he just goes, I'm living every moment with you simultaneous right now. And that's the last thing he says. Oh my goodness. And the egg and omelets, you got to break a couple of eggs to make an omelet, or to make an omelet, you got to break a couple of eggs. They also said that in Succession this year. So it's like an HBO theme. Thoughts on how that's tying on together. Should we just talk about the ending, man? Like, did she walk on water? That was a Sopranos ending, dude. Cut to black.
Yeah, it's more of an Inception ending. You know what happens in Sopranos. They kill him.
Yeah.
They shoot up the whole
for this, I kind of feel like I know she walks on water. That's kind of how I feel. Do you feel differently?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I need to watch it again, but I don't.
Because they do have that line that Adrian does say, for anyone who wants to pursue the power of a god, they shouldn't have it. And in a way, her eating that egg, eating that yolk, is kind of her wanting that power.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while it was happening, and to her credit, I think it has more to do with her grief and loss and wanting to be close to him than her wanting to be like, all right, now's my chance to have the power and be a god. My concern is just the thing that made Dr. Manhattan, and like his attitude and the reason why he didn't help people and really do stuff was because of, it's because of the power. Seeing time that way, understanding the things they understand, having that power, shedding your humanity, you're not going to be the same person that you were before. So like, I don't see any reason why, if there's another Dr. Manhattan, somebody else gets the powers, why it would be any different than when John had the powers.
Any different how? Are you talking about any different?
Like, I mean, in terms of like what they would do,
their actions,
like caring about humanity, and like you this idea that you're gonna get these powers and then rule over people. Like once you get the powers, you're not gonna care about if people worship you or if people, because you
actually might challenge that, Nate.
Beneath you,
but I might challenge that because I think that's what Adrian was saying though when that's
what Dr. Manhattan says. That's what he says to Adrian.
But you see, Dr. Manhattan got those powers by accident, got him on a fluke. He wasn't pursuing the power of a god.
Yes.
Unlike Lady True, who is trying to get those powers this episode, and that's why she had to be stopped. Anyone who pursues getting the powers of God definitely has a narcissistic intent, so it could be a negative impact on humanity. And I'm not saying, Dr. Manhattan, obviously, once you have those powers, he didn't care as much, but his one weakness, though, not weakness, but his one sense of humanity was that love he had for Angela and Laurie in the past. So I do think it's different if someone gets those powers and they're not actively pursuing them versus someone who is pursuing the powers and voluntarily takes that egg. I mean, it's an interesting conversation, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that necessarily coming unless it was what you were just saying. Her wanting to be closer to him.
I just don't see how that is the end game of how that's a good thing. She has these kids to raise. She has a whole life, and he is suffering through this. Like, he's not. You don't see him going through the book smiling about what he can do and the life that he has. So I find it very hard to believe that he would subject Angela to that.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, obviously they made the choice of making it ambiguous for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm really curious what that reason is. I need to do, my due diligence and watch again and do some research, because everything is a reference to something.
Right.
Even like all the songs, the score of this episode was incredible.
Oh my God.
My one complaint was I did feel like they relied a little bit too much on actual songs when like the score that Trent and Atticus have been doing is incredible, and I was really looking forward to that. But I know that each of the songs has a specific significance, which I can definitely appreciate. Yeah, and this episode looked so fucking good.
This
too.
was
It
so
looked
well shot.
Yeah.
I mean, this show. So with
I've
the
never
music,
seen a blue dick that looked so good in my life.
yeah.
It was funny
I
because
concur.
they kept like framing it where like you couldn't really see it, and I was like, nice. That's
And then
really
they were
smart.
just like,
and then they're like,
here.
nope.
But it was a soft roll because it was in the background.
Yeah. Well, they kind of like they shifted angle, and then they just thought you just got a little tip, and then like a little shaft, and then they did the dick. And I was like,
Full
there it is.
frame.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, my man.
Yeah, they were not. I mean, good for them. A lot of people in the chat sharing their thoughts on this. The relationship starts and stops with an egg. Great point. Also, some people theorizing it's not that she wanted the power of Dr. Manhattan. I think she was just curious to see if it worked. I think you still have a bit of a moral quandary there, like you were saying, like raising the kids and also that he's gone.
To me, as an ending, the idea that, especially as like a book ending for Watchmen, that the god is dead, right? Like it's Laurie's joke. That's the other thing that I didn't realize until I was literally walking here, and I was like, a god is gonna die. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be Manhattan or if actually they transfer over, but like that's why she's there, because the joke that she tells is about killing a god,
right?
So like. There's so many fucking layers, dude.
It's crazy.
Oh my God,
it is
it's
an
so
onion, good. Like ogres. Still going to the chat here. Real MVP for yeah, absolutely the real MVP. Don't think she gets his full capabilities if she did eat the egg, is what Lula Joy is saying, but it would be some form of them. I mean, I don't know if you can just give some of them and not all. He was saying the powers would be in that egg.
I mean, I don't know. It's all very unclear exactly how his powers work. Theoretically, he can control his own. He can manipulate atom and matters, including his own, at a subatomic level. So that allows him to create things and adjust himself however he chooses. How he can use that to impart powers to another person, I'm not quite sure. It's science fiction, but. I don't know. I need to watch, like, and there was so much dialogue, like great dialogue, but like packed with information and like references
sitting in the theater?
and images and like newspaper things, and like there's so much to,
and great little Easter eggs in the background. I remember even when they're walking out of the theater after the storm, if you will, it did say Dr. M on the lights of the theater. I guess certain lights were knocked out, but DRM was not. For Dr. Manhattan. And also her kid sees the costume when they're going through the police station, which I thought was like, there's just so many great things happening here. And then I am the walrus in the credits. Like, what's...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't understand like how that killed him. She like pulled the energy out of him and like he dissipated.
Killed who?
Manhattan.
Oh, Manhattan. Okay.
Like,
they were referring to Keen.
And then
who popped like a grape is what she said.
I just don't understand why he can't reassemble himself. I don't get it.
I think what was different from Adrian's machine at the end of the Watchmen graphic novel versus hers was that she was literally transferring it. And I think within that transfer, that's what really took it out of him. I think also he was human for a second there.
The lithium thing, that also, I didn't like that they did that.
The lithium?
No, that he turned back human for a little while. I mean, I guess because he didn't like go into that dead body. He just took that body's shape.
Right.
So like if his powers are all being taken away from him and he's trapped in this lithium cage, but he can still change what he looks like right when he's about to die.
Yeah, it's a little gray.
To me, that was like it was because it looks good. It makes the emotional moment better, especially for the actor.
Wow, we have 249 people in the chat. Holy cow, y'all. Watchmen finale. Please hit that like button. That's going to help the show a lot. Also, subscribe. We're on iTunes, so please subscribe there. Leave a 5-star rating, and we will give you a shout out on Tuesday when we are doing our official after show at 9 p.m. with Tehran, who is out performing. So shout out to Tehran. But again, this is just our brief reaction. And please keep commenting down below your thoughts, your immediate reactions from this episode. Nate and I will shout a few of you out, and we're just reveling in the season that was Watchmen on HBO. Nate, I just wanted to pivot now to the season as a whole. And I know we've kind of given our thoughts on like, yeah, this was solid. I need to reevaluate it. I'm just thinking about moments from this entire season that I thought were just brilliant. And I'm curious if there are any major unanswered questions, because that's one thing, Damon Lindelof in the past, he's been criticized a lot for that by, he asks 100 questions and might answer like 50 of them. And
I would say like 89.
89. I mean, and some of these questions, in my opinion, don't matter. But to a lot of people, they do. And this is a lot of flack he got with Lost, some with The Leftovers. I think this show, a little different from a lot of his other works, he's really done a great job of answering a lot. We have someone in the chat saying Lube Man. Where is Lube Man? If you go on PDpedia, you might get some answers on Lube Man. Just an FYI. But were you sad we didn't get Lube Man, Nate?
Sad is not the word I would use. I definitely thought he might pop up a little bit.
Might lube up a little.
But it, again, it's very fitting. I mean, that's how the world works. You get questions you don't always get answers to. Sometimes things happen and they're not related, but they're there. And I think that just adds to the realism of the show. I don't think that this is a tease and that in season 2 we'll find out who Lube Man is. I think maybe it's PD, and maybe I haven't checked the PDpedia yet, so I don't know if there is some confirmation after this episode, but like you said earlier, like I don't want to say it doesn't matter because I don't like it doesn't matter, but ultimately like it doesn't matter in terms of everything that was going on.
Right.
Although I wouldn't be surprised to rewatch the show and find out that there was something that we missed that is like, hi, like someone's holding a sign going, hi, I'm Lube Man. And like we like completely missed it.
It's been so incredible. So I'm just looking back in the chat. A lot of people are thinking, I'm Lube Man. I can tell you this.
That's right. Lube Man is in all of us.
I'll hold a press conference and I'll reveal that there after I eat a cheeseburger like Iron Man. Yeah, I mean, I think the honest truth is there's not any major questions that were left unanswered for me. I thought this series did such an incredible job. Again, we're going to rewatch it, but immediate thoughts is just satisfied. I am satisfied with how this all played out. I'm sad that we're not getting another one this coming week. And I think it's telling that a 9-episode season really shows that they didn't want to have any fat. Like they weren't ordered, hey, you get 10 episodes. This was definitely I only need 9. Or I just need 9. Like this, it's really, you don't get a 9-episode season that often. And I think that's a testament to the writers. It's not just Damon, there's a ton of writers. And just how they're telling the story at their own pace. They're very much doing their own thing. And it wasn't really, I think, by committee. Wouldn't you say? Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like the number 9 was just as a reference to in the Watchmen series, the standard panel format that they use is a 9-panel format for every page. And there's very few deviations from that. And when there is, it's for very specific moments when they really want to grab your attention. It's a very, very cool design trick that was just executed very well. It's one of the reasons why Watchmen is a masterpiece outside of just the art and the writing, just the way it's put together. So for me, I just always assumed that the 9 episodes were just to mirror the 9 panel structure.
Interesting.
From that,
I bet it's both. I mean, everything they do is so layered.
yeah, I mean, that could have also just happened to be a nice coincidence that works for them as well.
Right. And I mean, another thing about this season that's just been so incredible is, like you were talking about earlier, the music as well as the score and the songs they've used, just having all these double meanings. I mean, I think we had like 7 songs with the word blue in it last week just because it was a Dr. Manhattan episode. What I found to be really incredible was there were a lot of elements they introduced just last week in the episode that played majorly into this, and it felt like we knew it the entire season.
Yeah.
The information we learned, just because it takes place in the past, it makes us feel like we've known it the entire length of the show.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of references too that we didn't know were references because we didn't have the full context.
That's a great point as well.
Yeah.
The references and callbacks have been off the hook this entire season, and just also who you value and think is an important character has kind of changed episode by episode. I wanted to just highlight a few of the actors real quick. Regina King, this was, I mean, Oscar winner, of course, from If Beale Street Could Talk, but this was amazing. I can't even think of another performance season long, and there's some episodes she's only in for 2 minutes, but her presence is known. I thought she killed it this season. I think she's a lock for an Emmy, and I bet she's favored to win. This was an incredible performance, and maybe her best work. How do you feel? What was your favorite performance? You weren't into it? What's that look you're giving Regina King right now? Are you seeing this chat roll?
I'm gonna get murdered, but I don't think she's bad, but I don't think that she's like exceptionally good in this show. I think she's just
Get a grip, Nate.
She's just kind of there. Everything just kind of happens to her.
She's just kind of there.
Yeah, she gets angry and then she says, "What the fuck?" and then she shoots people.
No, I think you're quoting the chat roll for what you're saying right now. I think that's
Look,
what.
man, I'll take the heat. I
Take
stand
the
by what I'm
heat,
saying.
man.
I'm just saying that there was a lot of great, spectacular performances on this show, and I would not.
You're
add
not
her
putting
list.
hers up there.
No, I don't. I think it was okay. I think it was served the role perfectly, but I was not like, wow, she's.
This
so,
is
like,
blasphemy.
I know. I'm a terrible person.
I really, and I also think just Ozymandias feels ripped right out of the comic, and everything he did this episode, I thought he had some incredibly comedic moments throughout the entire season, but that feeling of awe he got just coming out of the spaceship, and they're just rinsing him off, and he can barely talk. They give him some water. I loved the emotional arc between him and Lady True, which again, you did predict this, Nate Miller. You did predict that was his daughter, and it ended up being.
I mean, they told us last week, basically.
What did you think of how they showed her becoming his daughter? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was. I mean,
unexpected.
As soon as she popped the safe open, I saw the vial. I was like, oh, that's what. Because at first. This sounds really
Semen.
bad. At first, I thought it was Lady Trio, like just like a younger Lady Trio. But then I was thinking, like time-wise, that would make sense. And then I was looking at the glasses, and I was like, oh, that's Beyond. And then I was like, well, shit, I know what's about to go down now.
And we knew some significance with the mother had to be in there. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happening like there again, and the squid is there too, and like showing the lab and everybody that's working there.
Right. And while they're filming
she
it,
only lived because she left before he did the thing, because he killed everybody else that stayed there.
And that's a great point too. It actually reminded me a lot of Lost when, because they show some videos from the Dharma Initiative throughout the season, and then when they go back, they show them actually recording
Making
them.
the videos, yeah.
That was so Losty, in my opinion. I just really thought that was an amazing detail. Also, the password for the computer is the same password from the comic, being a Ramsey 2. Mm-hmm. Just the detail in this show is really quite amazing. Yeah, the chat is going off. I don't know if you've noticed.
Apparently, it looks like
about the Regina comments.
That's okay.
Tweet at him, y'all.
I'm not looking at that. Apparently, I'm looking at the PDpedia, and there's a very interesting document that everyone should take a look at.
Do tell.
Watch the show. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's a long memorandum about Dale Petey, written by Max Fargot, who's the deputy director of the FBI. It also mentions what happens to Lori after the end of the show as well.
Holy cow. I mean, that's another testament to this show is even when it's not airing, there's stuff online that they have made, PDpedia being the website where there's just this all this extra stuff. What's incredible, just now we're going to Damon, I think, just wrapping up this reaction. What's so incredible about this entire show is if you've never even read the graphic novel, you could watch this show and get something out of it. And if you have read it, you're going to get so much more out of it. But it's palpable. I think this is something that everyone can enjoy, something that everyone can be entertained by, and just all this extra media will only make you enjoy it even more, which few shows can do that.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. In 9 episodes, you can just talk and get so much out of it. Wow, we got some people just going off in the chat.
It's okay. Corey Adams got my back. He knows I'm right.
Corey Adams, 1 out of 278.
Don't say I hate black women.
1 out of 278.
That's
Again,
not
thank
true.
y'all so
I
much
love
for
black women.
Thank y'all so much for joining. Please hit that thumbs up button. It helps our show a lot. And again, plugging our after show Tuesday at 9 p.m. with Tehran. We're going to revisit this episode. These are just our immediate reactions to this finale. And please sound off in the chat. Going to Damon now. Where do you think this season of television lies? In all, what's so funny?
I just actually scrolled through and caught up on the chat.
Yeah, they've been going off. See, guys, he does care.
I love that you guys feel so strongly about this show.
I mean, they should, because that was a really strong performance by one of the world's finest performers, which is Regina King. Where do you think this season of television stands in terms of other works that HBO has done, and also with Damon Lindelof? Do you think that this is a series that is going to satisfy more than a lot of his has in the past?
I think yes and no. I think it's a little bit more accessible than some of the other stuff he's done. But I still think in order to really enjoy it, it does ask a lot of the viewer, especially if you're not already an invested Watchmen fan, you're familiar with the comics. To really get its most out of it, you gotta read the book. You gotta read the PDpedia stuff that they release every week. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that makes it a very niche market. There's a certain group of viewers that don't like to be force-fed their story. They like to be challenged. They like to work for their story. I'm one of those people. I like questions that make me think. I don't like watching a show and being like, well, I know what's going to happen because I've seen this kind of show over and over again. So I really appreciate that. But especially with the way that it ends, it's a heavy philosophical thing. And especially if this is the one season, I think it's not exactly a happy ending. It's not a sad ending. It's not exactly a happy ending.
It's an ending, though.
It's an ending. It's an ending. So I don't know. I think for me, it's way up near the top for HBO shows. But I think for the average person, it's going to be one of those things of like, I think it's 3 or 4 years from now, I'm going to say like, oh, but did you watch Watchmen? And they're going to go, no, I didn't see it. I'm like, dude, you got to watch it. And they'll be like, oh, okay, all right.
I really do think this is going to stand the test of time. I think this is more accessible while also being the most complicated thing he's probably ever worked on. I think that the most amount of people will like this show compared to his other shows. However, I do think it's the gift that keeps on giving with all this extra media and that PDpedia, the graphic novel, all this other stuff will only make you enjoy it more. And if you're into the show and haven't read the graphic novel or gone on PDpedia, this finale will probably intrigue you enough to go visit that work, which I do think is the best part of this show, in that people who normally wouldn't have read that graphic novel now just might be tempted to. We are out of time, Nate Miller. We did it. This is our reaction. Again, just plugging our after show. Tuesday at 9 p.m. Tehran will be here. We're going to dissect the entire season as well as this episode, this finale. But until then, Nate Miller, it's Miller time. Where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere at Dog Like Nate. That's dog with 2 G's. Make sure you hit me up and tell me why I'm wrong about Regina King. We can have a nice, healthy, totally civil internet discussion.
I will like all of those tweets if you tweet your thoughts.
Hey, whoa. Don't.
Almost all. Probably shouldn't promise that.
Yeah,
but
don't encourage.
But you know where you can tweet me is at Ryan Nilsen, RYNILSEN on Twitter, and on Instagram at Ryan Nilsen, NILSEN_. We love Watchmen so much. This episode this season was incredible. We are floored by it. And again, tune into us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. for our official after show. Until then, TikTok.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.